Welcome back to another video, everybody. Brad here from the Jurassic Park Podcast. Today, in this video, I have a conversation with Stephen Ray Morris from See Jurassic Right. We talk about all kinds of things. It's been a while, folks. So we talk about the hype levels of like the Jurassic World era. We talk about some Jurassic trivia. We talk about if it's possible to make Jurassic Park better. Is it? Do you think it is? We talk a little bit about speculation over the years. And this, folks, is just part one of 3 episodes that are going to be coming your way over the next few weeks. So stay tuned for all of those. Be sure to follow all of our information over on JurassicParkPodcast.com. We really hope you enjoyed this video. The podcast is back. The live streams are back. So be sure to tune in every Wednesday night. But without further ado, let's go ahead and take a listen to this conversation with Stephen Ray Morris from See Jurassic Right.
What's interesting to me about it right now, because I saw the movie, I saw it in theaters for the 30th, and it was just like, oh, I didn't notice there was a donkey in the background, in the mine scene, or that there's a cat in Jurassic Park, not a real cat, but a
in
photo of a cat.
Yeah, I just noticed that in the trailer the other day when I saw it for the 30th as well, and I was like, man, like that is a big, what was it, cardboard cutout or a picture? What was it?
Yeah.
Something like that. So it's funny how, like, especially seeing it on the big screen, you really notice like brand new things. And it's a really dumb detail, but like one of my favorite things to point out when I go see it with people is like if you watch like while they're sitting up in the tree, for the Brachiosaurus part, you just see massive cargo nets up in the tree. And it's like, and it's like such a stupid detail, but I'm like, that is one of the coolest things that you notice on a big screen when you don't necessarily notice it on your TV at home or whatever. So
it's Corey and I were talking a lot about because he came out, him and Sam and a few other people. My brain is blanking right now, but Caleb and stuff when this was like back in 2018 for Fallen Kingdom for the trivia night that I did, and Corey's a big trivia guy, so we were like all weekend we were like, what's the dumbest but like hardest trivia that we could come up with for Jurassic fans? Like or just even thinking about, because I would love to throw it, because I actually live pretty close to that place where I did the trivia, so I'm thinking about doing one again. And it's just like, I don't know, there was like it was like counting stuff on screen, like how many Parasaurolophysi, how many Parasaurolophyses are like how many of them are on screen in that shot, the Welcome to Jurassic Park shot. How many, there are adults and babies, so how many adults, how many babies?
See, that's the stuff, like, obviously I'm a super fan, but like when it comes to that stuff, I'm like, I don't know, I've got no idea.
but it's funny because it's one of those things where like Corey and I both guessed, and both of us were like close. So I think you could do it. Like I think you could do a really good guess.
Yeah, my guess was like 4. I don't know. Like I feel like there's like 4.
4 total?
Total? I have no idea.
Well, again, I was very surprised that there's 10.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, wait, sorry, it's 8. I think it's, I already forgot. But I believe it's something like 6 adults and 2 babies.
Okay.
Or something like that. So it's like in that range. Because one of the things is that Corey and Sam and Caleb and their team, they technically got me on an incorrect trivia answer.
Oh no.
Because I said, how many Velociraptors die on screen in Jurassic Park? And I said 3. But actually, you never see the raptor in the freezer die on screen. Yeah. So, and then it was like we were all going into like, which raptor is the big one? It's like all that kind of stuff. Or like, I think about the JP Motor Pool, and it's like I love those guys, and it's just like I couldn't tell you what numbers are on the sides of the Jeep. You know what I mean? Like,
no, that's just not a detail like I've ever gravitated towards. Like I don't know that stuff. I remember
and it's a dumb thing that I've told before, but like there's always misconceptions, especially with that first film. And for me personally, I just like, I don't know if I told you before, but I always thought that John Hammond did the entire spiel like as Richard Kiley. Like I thought I thought there was some like voice modulator that he would sit in the office and be like, the voice you are hearing is Richard Kiley, and it would actually translate to Richard Kiley's voice, and it would just be like Richard Kiley talking, and he would have to sit in that chair the entire tour, and that was my child brain, and just continued as an adult.
I love that.
And recently I heard people arguing about how many raptors are in the like that raptor pen, you know, when they feed it, and I'm like, I assumed all three of them were in there. I didn't ever think there was less or anything. I didn't think there was only one. And they say, I think John Hammond says like feeding them, you know. So I would assume there was more than one. So, and I think there is.
That's a good question, because it's like there's like there's like a call and response a little bit when they first. Yeah, you're right. I guess. In my head, I think growing up, I maybe assumed that there was only one, but you know, I mean, again, it's far be it for us to be able to tell the difference between. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. But yeah, no, that's stuff that you never think about. I mean, I just like that because everyone, you know, there's something for everyone in there, you know. That's so funny. What was another trivia thing? We were like, I don't know, like at what hour does the last new dinosaur come on screen? You know, like that's just what I thought of right now. And which is the last dinosaur? Which is the last dinosaur type to appear on screen? I mean, I don't think you need to overthink it. I think it's pretty like, you know, of
it would have to be
8 dinosaurs that appear in Jurassic Park.
I think it would have to be Dilophosaurus, maybe.
That's the second to last one.
Was it second to last?
Yeah, because other? Wait, or right? Gallimimus, right? Gallimimus doesn't appear.
Yeah.
Earlier,
yeah, you're right. You're right. Gallimimus. Yeah. I forgot about them. Tonight I'm realizing I don't even know what Jurassic Park is, so I'm gonna start.
No, but I mean,
podcasting about Star Wars again. But
I mean, it's that kind of stuff where it's like, you know, it's. I mean, again, I you know, it was such a fun weekend to spend with Corey and just, you know, just talk about this stuff where it's like, I don't know. I feel like when you're online, you're very focused on the things you know. And so it was just one of those things where the whole weekend, it was just like, oh, what could we like? And then going back to like the, you know, I don't know if I don't know if I've actually talked to you about Dominion at all. I don't think we've talked at all about our feelings about that.
I don't know. And, I don't think so.
But I mean, I think you were saying earlier about just sort of being bummed out about the, you know, I don't know. I really like Dominion and I like it more and more each time I watch it. But it's almost like that thing where now at this point I'm like, I would love to write something or do a whole expose on why insects are just as vital to the Jurassic franchise as anything else. You know, and it's just like literally the first trailer for Jurassic Park focuses on insects. So it's just like, to me, and I you know, I don't want to misspeak for Corey, but I thought he said something really valuable where it was just like, for Jurassic Park fans, when we saw the insect storyline, you know, the locust storyline in Dominion, we're like, oh, instant Crichton. We're like, oh my gosh, like we're going back to the source, like, you know, that sort of thing. But you know, maybe mainstream audiences weren't as prepared for that.
Yeah, I feel like mainstream definitely thought like, oh, this is a weird thing to focus on. Why are we spending half the movie focusing on these bugs? But like, to me, like that's, you know, you're holding up the piece of amber, you're seeing that bug right in there, and it's a full circle thing, and it's so beautiful, and like you said, to me, it feels like Michael Crichton. Like, even though it's not a story he wrote, it feels adjacent to something that he would have done if he had the chance to write Jurassic World Dominion, you know?
I remember when the movie came out, I was tweeting about it, and I was like, Jurassic World Dominion is if Colin and Emily took the first 100 pages of Jurassic Park and mixed it with Fast and the Furious, and like in the best kind of way. And I remember Emily responded being like, "Yeah, that's like kind of what we were going for, a globe trotting, like because that's to me what I loved about
that."
But I mean, just like in that fun way. Like I think Jurassic World Dominion is a very fun movie. Like
yeah. And my opinion of that movie is I absolutely love it. I love the whole thing, and like anytime somebody has a critique of it, I'm like, usually I can see the critiques, and I'm like, I know what you're talking about. But this one, I do not. I'm like I'm like a horse running in a race or something. I've got blinders on. I have no idea. I see no issues, and I'm like, this movie's great. Like I don't get it. So to me, it's like 100%. I just love it so much.
I mean, and I really do think the extended version is the definitive version, just because like again, just over the weekend, like getting like, I just feel like, it's like we're like how we're together right now, where it's like, okay, we're getting into the brass tacks of it. And it's just like this thing of, Rexy's storyline doesn't make sense without the intro, because it's like this, it's like a second and third act where we see her in the theatrical version being loaded into the biosim place, and then her fight with the Giganotus, right? Is that how you say it?
Giganotosaurus.
Giganotosaurus. That's right. I was just like said the first part.
I went through the same thing the other day. I was like, I haven't talked about this thing in a while. How do you say it again?
I mean, Jurassic World Dominion is easily the second best Jurassic Park movie to me, because it says all the dinosaur names out loud and when they're from, like because that was what was so cool about the original, like Jurassic Park and Lost World. Well, not even so much Lost World really, but like, I don't know. I love the edutainment element that was brought back into Dominion as well, of like, Quetzalcoatlus. Why am I not being able to pronounce that right now? I know, it's like we got so used to saying it last year,
Yeah,
those muscles up there.
None of those
but it's
skills.
like, it's from late Cretaceous. Like, I like that. Like, that was what was so fun about the original Jurassic Park, was that edutainment quality to it. And I feel like Dominion kind of brought that back. I mean, it makes sense that in Fallen Kingdom and Lost World and some of the other movies where it's like they're not saying the dinosaurs' names because everyone knows the dinosaurs, so why would they be saying them out loud? No, but I was gonna say, oh my gosh, it's gone. There was something else about Dominion that I wanted to say, but I guess for me, I'm curious again. I want to know more about what you think of the movie. Oh no, it was the Rexy thing, but Jurassic World Dominion is every kind of dinosaur movie, and the fact is Rexy's storyline is Land Before Time. Like, it's literally like, it's a dinosaur, Rexy is like, is like Littlefoot or Chomper or whatever, and then she goes to the big city and then eventually learns how to work with others in the Great Valley to defeat the bully. Like, it's just very Land Before Time.
Yeah.
And also Fantasia as well too, like the amber colors of the intro and the music that's very like classical almost or something, and like the sort of mashing up of eras, where everyone was like, oh, these two dinosaurs would never exist together, but there was such a painterly quality to that opening that to me was representing Fantasia, not Walking with Dinosaurs. But
I was going to ask, watch. It's been a while since I've seen it, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But I guess what were like the three things that you liked the most about Dominion and the three things you liked the least about it? I'm very curious.
Well, I mean, I'm going to go straight to one of the easiest ones, I think, is the Malta sequence was just incredible. And when you get that music, the plane and the cycle, is that the name of it? Whatever it's called. That track, like where Owen is just racing to that airplane, like that, and just the culmination of that music, just trumpeting up when the Atrociraptor just falls out of the airplane. It's just like one of the coolest moments, like that I've seen. It was just so much fun to watch that whole thing go down. What else? And one of my favorite things in the extended edition is that full circle story for Rexy is that and it's just a little like that little flash, back to the prehistoric times. Did you see that at the end of the movie? That like little lightning flash where it just like shows the prehistoric trees, and it looks like you're back in the Cretaceous period for a split second, and it's just so beautiful and awesome. And like that was one moment that like shocked me when I watched it for the first time on whatever DVD, digital, whatever it was, and I was like, did I just see that? Like I had to go back instantly right in that moment. I'm like, I'm pretty sure like there was something there, and I was like, yes, there was. That was amazing. So, and let's see, what would be the last thing? I don't know. I guess I really love that last triumphant like roar from Rexy. So it was like the same moment basically, but like it just with that lightning strike. Like I like a good like. I don't feel like
it makes the logo.
Yeah. No, but like it's a lightning, it's the Rexy roaring, it's the Therizinosaurus roaring. It's like so much stuff all in one, and it's just like, to me, like these last two movies specifically have been, I feel like, everything that I ever kind of wanted from my own mind as a kid. Like when I'm sitting there playing with these toys, I'm coming up with the most like crazy ambitious like storylines in my head as a kid playing with the Lost World toys and Jurassic Park toys. And in my mind, volcanoes are exploding in the background. I'm running to chase dinosaurs and motorcycles and airplanes, and I'm trying to do all that same stuff that they put on screen, and maybe even these epic battles and stuff. So to me, like, maybe they're not like high art, like some people want them to be, but like to me, it's just like I just love how fun that the trilogy ended up being.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think for me, the image of, and I actually finally got two of them just because I don't know how I got two of them, but whatever. I have modern day Ellie. Wait, where are we going? Modern day Ellie with two tasers.
I love it.
Because to me, I mean, that's the thing that I really liked about, it's that thing. I mean, I find it very interesting. I mean, okay, I could go like 10 places, but what I really liked about Dominion and Fallen Kingdom is they created a lot of cool new iconography for the Jurassic franchise. I mean, you think about the Indoraptor on the rooftop, and even just the volcano exploding, or the end sequence, the montage with Jeff Goldblum kind of being poetic over it. But I just like the image of Laura Dern dual wielding tasers is just like, I want that as like we were speaking of Renaissance paintings earlier. I just want a portrait of that earlier where she's just like, with bugs everywhere, and, and like Claire with an axe in the background, like ready to like throw down. Like, I just like that, like, in the images of the locust burning in the sky, it all felt very like
so good,
biblical and cool. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, Jurassic Park is an impossible movie to replicate. I mean, I think that's almost like the thing that I think fans, far be it for me to tell what Jurassic Park fans need. I don't claim to be any sort of representation of the franchise or of the original movie or anything, but I just feel like it is a hard thing. I mean, maybe if we're going to compare it to Star Wars in that way, like, I personally don't think that we can ever get Jurassic Park again. I think there was too many things coming together at just the moment. Like, but I will say that, like, I really loved Force Awakens. I love Last Jedi. They were just showing part of Last Jedi, the Holdo maneuver on the Comic-Con floor, and I was just like, yeah, like, it's the best. But it's like, it is a weird thing where I do feel like Force Awakens on some level was able to replicate sort of the feeling of A New Hope. But does that mean that Star Wars isn't as good as Jurassic Park because, like, A New Hope maybe necessarily isn't as good as the highs of Jurassic Park. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah,
you know what
I get it.
I mean,
I get it. Because like Star Wars was like so different and new. I feel like so it's like it was its own thing back then. But and I don't know. It's hard to argue that it wasn't like super creative or
sure,
technologically advanced or anything. But like I feel like I get what you're laying down there because it definitely feels like Jurassic Park. And we had this argument so many times, like, and I know a lot of people, mention like the Brachiosaurus scene in Fallen Kingdom, like, doesn't have the same power that like the Brachiosaurus scene in
well, because
Jurassic
it's
Park
not
does. And
supposed
it's
to be
like,
the same thing.
yeah,
Depressing and sad.
it's not supposed to be the same thing. We can never get that moment in time back. Like me personally, I'm not 7 years old. I can't get that time back. I can't go back to the first time I saw a dinosaur for real. Like that was it. That was for real. I'm pretty sure. It was real. But like you can't get that moment back. So to me, like, yeah, they're doing a good job of recreating that magic in a way and changing things up, and especially with Fallen Kingdom, just going like in a crazy different route for the second half, and like that iconography and seeing that spill over into something like Camp Cretaceous, which I'm like, I know we all have varying degrees of like where that show went and like how we feel about it, but like I'm still like super pumped and hyped that show exists and like created some really cool sequences and some just really impressive stuff like the Scorpius Rex, and like that thing was so awesome. Like I can't believe that thing exists, or two of them existed.
Yeah.
Did they die? I mean, I know the building collapsed on them, but like I don't believe they're dead. Like stuff like that. Like I feel like we've gotten some really cool stuff out of this era that is very different, drastically different. And yeah, these movies aren't the same, but like they've still got so much magic in them, and I really love it. This whole era.
Yeah, no, I do too, and I think I'm actually gonna do a rewatch of Camp Cretaceous soon. And I think for me also, what was cool about this show is that ultimately, like the fact that I liked those kids enough that I want to see them in live action. I felt like they could interact with like Ellie and Grant and Malcolm, or they could interact with Claire and Owen. Like I think that's a real testament to that writing, that because I just think like making a show like that broadly speaking was meant to appeal more to kids. I think the fact that I don't know. I mean, are 15-year-olds obsessed with lore like we are? But
I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah. But I just feel like the fact that it made me love those characters, and it makes me feel like they sit alongside my classic Jurassic characters, I think that's a testament to that. I guess have you rewatched Jaws at all recently? Because I saw it in theaters last year.
Okay.
And
I probably saw it last year or so. I didn't watch it this past July, but my bad.
I have to give a shout out to my Japanese shark ladies.
Oh my gosh.
They're just sharks with legs.
That's amazing.
Oh, you know who? Oh my gosh, I can't remember his name. He's the Gaming Beaver. He had these on his channel, and because he lives in Japan now or something. And I was like, I have to get those.
That's right.
But so I was rewatching Jaws, and I got to see it in IMAX like over Labor Day weekend last year, and I was honestly just struck by how much of it is kind of a proto Jurassic Park.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only big difference is that actually we're talking during Shark Week, but as of this recording, not to date it, but I think the only reason why people think of Jaws as more of a horror film than Jurassic Park is because sharks are alive to scapegoat, whereas dinosaurs aren't. And I think that really makes that's really the biggest difference, because rewatching Jaws, I was so surprised at how much love and appreciation there is for sharks in that movie, where kind of like our memory of it is very much like it scared everybody, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But rewatching it, there's a lot of that awe and wonder that, I mean, I think dinosaurs, I mean, I love sharks actually, and I really want to go swimming with sharks soon. But I think that like just naturally because dinosaurs are I was going to say don't exist. That's not true. Because dinosaurs aren't on this earth anymore. Well, technically they're birds, whatever. Everyone knows. But I think because dinosaurs aren't around anymore, I think that they can remain a little bit more ephemeral in our mind, and we can kind of romanticize them a bit more. Whereas like, but I mean, the fact is like not that many people get attacked by sharks every year, and that's totally just a myth. And like more people die from falling on their guns in this country than like, anything else. So it's, sharks have definitely, I mean, I think we're all coming around to sharks as a culture. I think we all realize, like, even the author of Jaws is like, oh, I did a terrible thing making that book, like, sort of scapegoating sharks. And it's just, so I guess tying this back to the Star Wars question of like, this iterating or whatever. But I think that's maybe the key difference why Jurassic Park feels so on its own, because it's like even the proto version that Spielberg dealt with, like there was enough differences, and I think the subject matter keeps Jurassic Park purely in this like liminal space where it's like it can't be proven wrong or right, so it's kind of perfect, in that way. Like it'll never be, I mean, what would you do to Jurassic Park to make it better as a movie? Like what would you do? Do you know what I mean? Like put back in the high five moment, with Ellie and Alan. Like that would be so cheesy. Like, yeah, we solved it, like, because it's like that's the other thing we were just talking about earlier of like, like thinking about Jurassic Park and watching on the big screen again. It's like ultimately it's like all the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, like in the movie, like a lot of them aren't well. And so that's almost like thinking about thematically what the book did a lot more, which was like, especially Lost World, where it's like, these animals are sick. Like this isn't right. Like it's not good for these animals to be back in our time. And in a weird way, like I think thinking about it now, by sort of leaving that thread dangling where, you see this like Triceratops, this West Indian lilac, and then it's like, all right, I guess we got to move on. Like, Ellie's going to stay with the trike for a little bit, but like, I think it's kind of unsettling. You're like, okay, what's going on with this park? Like, it's not, all is not well in Willy Wonka's chocolate factory,
Yeah. I guess that would be the thing that a lot of people would say they would change, is like, just give us the book, that's what people would want. I don't know that it will make it better. I don't think if HBO said like right now that they're going to remake the book, I don't think I would be like, I like this better. Like I don't think I would. I don't know that I could. And I just said this to my wife yesterday, something along these lines. I just said like, we go see a lot of great movies, and there's always great movies coming out, but nothing will ever top my top 10 movies or whatever, like nothing. I don't feel like anything can crack that for me. I think we were talking about my son saying we just watched Nimona the other day on Netflix, and he was like, he's like, that's my favorite movie I've ever seen. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And he's like, is it your favorite movie? I'm like, well, no, but it was a great movie. It was a great movie, but like it's not ever gonna crack that top 10 for me, or whatever. It'll get up there. It's a pretty great movie, but like it's hard. I just don't know that even if they did remake it, that or do a different iteration of it, I just don't know that we could ever do that. That's why I'll skip the Lost World, but from 3 to 6, like none of them are better than the first two for me. But like, they're still great movies. It's like I was just ranking Mission Impossibles the other day. I'm like, one has to be last, but like I love them all. Like I just love all these movies.
Well, and I think we've talked about this before a lot, just like nostalgia and those kind of stuff of like what it does to your brain and everything. And I think it was like, I was thinking about it in relation to music the other day, and I wonder if you have a similar experience where it's like, the reality is, like you're saying, it's like, it's hard to put things that you have less time with higher than things that you have more time with, because you're not just thinking about the actual movie Jurassic Park and Lost World, you're thinking about all the memories you had as a kid. And I know you actually have video footage of like your Christmas, and I hold on to the one photo from Christmas and I'm like, this is the sacred text, like,
yeah.
And it's just, and there's just a lot more emotion tied to it, because you're not just thinking about the movie itself. You're thinking about all the memories in your life and getting older, and there's just so much more tied to it that it's hard to, it's just hard to beat that stuff. I think the only reason why I can, I mean, like when I say like Jurassic World Dominion and Fallen Kingdom are like, doing your top 10 or doing your top order rankings, like all that stuff changes all the time. It really just depends on how you feel, and it's the day. And I don't hold any of that stuff sacred. I'll say one thing is one way, and then I mean, Perry Nemiroff and I, Perry from Collider, and I did a Jurassic ranking episode before Dominion a few years ago, and it's like I think my order changed like the day after I recorded that. You know what I mean? It's just like that's all ephemeral, and I don't try to get too hung up on that, because you can literally just change your mind every day. But yeah, no, I mean, there is just something special. I was just thinking, because I got to go to that Jurassic Park experience in San Diego, and they have all the like crates and the ferns and the what were the things in the trees earlier? The nets, like
the cargo nets.
That's like such a vibe. And I remember going, I think it was even after I'd seen Lost World, because the movie theater that I actually saw Jurassic Park, Lost World, Jurassic Park 3, and Fallen Kingdom in just closed in my where I grew up.
No.
But I remember at some other outdoor mall thing in Orange County where I grew up during the Lost World, and again, it's one of those things I'm like, did this really happen? Like, I have memories of it, but to promote Lost World, they had like crates everywhere, like those wooden crates, and I don't even know if they even had any dinosaurs. I think they just had like crates and ferns with nets over them, and just like it was like, ooh, this like kind of fun promotion sort of thing. But it, maybe there was like Lost poster or something coming out. I don't remember any dinosaurs. I just remember that aesthetic sort of decorating this outdoor mall area next to the movie theater. And it's like, and again, I think with like, I mean, Fallen Kingdom, I think, is really special, because just that was probably like the peak of adult Jurassic fandom. I don't know if that was the same for you.
I feel like probably.
Because like Jurassic World, we were like just getting back into it. Fallen Kingdom is like, 25th, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And in Dominion last year, I'm glad it was delayed because I got to see it in theaters. But I mean, I saw Fallen. I forget. I don't know how many times you saw it, but I saw Fallen Kingdom in theaters 9 times in the first month.
Oh wow!
Because
I saw it 3 times.
Whereas like Dominion, I think I only saw in theaters 3 times. Like it just was, the vibe around Fallen Kingdom was just very electric. Even though, I think a lot of people, it's their least favorite Jurassic movie, which again, I'm not going to fault anyone for, but I think like I just have a lot of positive memories associated with that movie.
Yeah, I think there was like, it definitely feels like it was peak. Like, we had new toys coming out like from Mattel. It was like brand new. There was just like so much happening. And I said it back then, and it's I feel like it's still fairly true, but like, that movie, like I feel like the marketing and it's hard to say now with Barbenheimer, in theaters, like, but like, but like the marketing for Fallen Kingdom was like so just everywhere, and it was, there was so much going on, so many things to experience, and we talk about it a lot, especially after the 30th anniversary. How you just mentioned the 25th anniversary was that year, so there was like a lot of tacked on things because of that 25th year. And I feel like that's the reason why a lot of people are like, well, the 30th is a bummer because 25 was so good. But like we had a major movie coming out that year, and it so like they were just combining a lot of efforts. But yeah, it was pretty peak. And then, but not to say that Dominion was less so, but like it's, I just saw that list. There's that list of like pandemic movies, and Dominion is in there as a $1 billion movie. And it's like, everybody forgets that's the, it's in there. It's in the, with No Way Home and whatever else, is going to be in there. It's up there with all that other stuff. It's crazy.
Yeah. So. You're right. Ultimately, there's just like that what if factor of like, I don't know. It's hard. It's just, we can never know what things would have been like if COVID hadn't happened. The movie probably would have been really different. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I think how Dominion turned out is probably the least of the worries of COVID. You know what I mean? Like, making sure these movies are good.
Well, you want everybody to be safe. So,
yes, no, of course. But it's just
and I was bummed. Like, don't get me wrong. I know, like, you were happy. I was like, oh man, I just got to create like 52 more episodes. I got to figure out, that many more episodes until the next movie, the movie actually comes out. And so to me, I'm like, oh man, all right, what are we gonna do? So it was like a long. It felt arduous, kind of like getting through that year. But like when we got there, and like by the time Dominion's trailer came around, like I did that reaction video, and it was like true and real, and I was like freaking out, watching that first real trailer for Dominion. I was like, this is awesome. Like, I love everything I'm seeing. So like the hype level was still there for me, but like generally speaking, it definitely felt less so, I guess.
Well, and I guess I don't know if this is a question to you, but it's just sort of because I think, as Jurassic content creators, and, I sort of circumnavigated that thing by life taking over and not really doing the podcast this past year and a half. I came back for like, because I was very lucky enough to go to the premiere of Dominion. But, I'm also like, I'm very bummed that I didn't get to participate as much. And that's the thing where I'm like, that's on me, not really like, I just think a lot of times, and I won't name names, they're not involved in Jurassic, but another publication, but they're always like, I have so much Star Wars fatigue. And it's like, yes, because your job is to review Star Wars. Like, that has nothing to do with like the rest of the world. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, like I just, sometimes I'm like, you have to, it's like, I think we like when we go into movies thinking about spoilers, and it's like, yeah, of course, if you're making Jurassic content, it's like, you have to contend with that idea. And I think we've all kind of thought about different ways of how to do that, where it's like, I try to avoid spoilers, but I'm also following the making of the movie. So it's, it's like that kind of stuff where it's like, how do we preserve our own love and enjoyment of something while also having to beat it with a stick for, a year. And, I don't know about you, but I love speculating, but it's like at some point it's like, I just want to see the damn movie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, I know, because that was like, we came up with like so many really intense theories and speculations as far as Dominion was concerned. And then it's like, movies pushed another year, and we're like, I don't know how much more we can speculate, because like we kept doing it for a little bit, and then it just got to be too much, and I'm like, well, now I can't possibly speculate anymore. So like, I just need to see the thing. Like, I don't know how much I can keep talking about it without it being here.
We never got our DH
so interesting. Yeah. What? And oh my, like, I had so many fun theories, and I'm just like, where are those theories? But like, that's the thing. I got to a point where I'm like, all this speculation is just going to ruin it. Like, it's just going to ruin it. And now I start to phase backwards a little bit, where I'm like, and I've got with this joke in my live stream crew, the people that are always in there when I do the live streams, and one of them always mentions like, Universal, call your boy, because like I have so many ideas, and I'm like, I always stop talking about them. I'm like, oh my god, wouldn't it be so? And I'm like, I just gotta stop. Like, I can't even say it anymore, because like, it's never gonna happen, and I don't want to get my hopes up. It's just like too much for me. Like, I can't even handle it personally.
I mean, but I think it's that thing where I think there's very